we're kicking off today with Smackdown, as this week's show saw the Blue brand deal with the fallout of Money in the Bank and begin the road to SummerSlam. This week's Smackdown also took place in WWE's old stomping ground of Madison Square Garden, so it should come as no surprise of a certain someone being backstage. WRKD Wrestling reports that Vince McMahon was backstage at Smackdown, but that is to be expected, as the chairman is at nearly every single event in the Garden that WWE produces. It's unclear if McMahon made any changes to the broadcast, as he's been known to do for both Raw and SmackDown, but we imagine things were tense for the talent, given that the boss was in town. What we do know is that changes were made to the show, as several matches and segments were cut due to time constraints. One clear example was the match between Karrion Kross and AJ Styles, and when a fan online questioned if Kross had heat backstage, BWE clarified that time cuts were made. The chief reason behind these cuts was that the opening segment featuring the Bloodline and the Usos went much longer than expected, and that WWE had to struggle to fit everything else in. While we don't know if McMahon was the one who made the call for the segments to be shorter, plenty of changes were made, as WWE wanted to give the Bloodline plenty of time, even at the expense of others on the SmackDown roster. At Money in the Bank, John Cena made his surprise return to WWE with the blockbuster news that he intends to bring WrestleMania to London. For years, fans in the UK have pleaded for WrestleMania to head overseas, but this is the first time the idea has been addressed on TV. But just how realistic is this idea? In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer reports that if WrestleMania went to Wembley, the two-night show would be a hit, breaking the record for the largest UK wrestling event ever. That record will soon be held by AEW thanks to the success of All In, and we imagine that Vince McMahon will be very happy to stick it to Tony Khan. Meltzer added that Cena's promo certainly created a groundswell of attention, just as WWE intended, with the company hoping that London will make a big bid for the week of the festivities. With WrestleMania 40 already booked for Philadelphia, the earliest chance for WrestleMania in London will be 2025, but plans for WrestleMania in London are well underway. WrestleMania in London certainly has fans talking, but it isn't the only overseas project the WWE currently has going on. It's been close to a year since the announcement of NXT Europe, which also marked the end of NXT UK, but there's been next to no updates about the upcoming brand. During the Money in the Bank press conference, Triple H said that NXT Europe had been delayed due to the WWE-UFC merger, but that's only part of the story. In The Observer, it's reported that as soon as WWE announced NXT Europe, many within WWE were skeptical of the idea and that it would be launched as planned. WWE initially announced the show would launch by the end of 2023, but with over half the year gone, there's no sign at all that a show will be coming anytime soon. While the Endeavor deal has changed a lot in WWE, it seems NXT Europe was already going off plan before the announcement, and we'll have to see when, if ever, the new brand launches. More from Money in the Bank, as last Saturday's event saw Shayna Baszler turn on Ronda Rousey, kicking off the feud between the two that has been rumored for some time. Both Rousey and Baszler have spoken openly in the past about feuding, but this storyline isn't going as initially planned. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it's noted that given that Baszler was the attacker in London, the plan was for she to be the heel and Rousey to be the babyface. That was immediately changed once Baszler got a huge ovation from the UK crowd, and given their promo on Raw, it's clear that the roles have been reversed for the former allies. The original storyline has been scrapped in favor of a story of Rousey not deserving the push she's had in WWE, which is ironic, as few women did more to elevate female combat sports than Rousey herself. WWE also had plans for this feud to happen much later than it did, but with reports of Rousey leaving after SummerSlam or not long after, Ronda requested the feud be moved forward. Rousey wants to give Baszler a prominent feud as a thank you for all she's helped her with in wrestling, which began long before Rousey signed with WWE in 2018. Now Baszler will have regular TV time and work with one of the biggest names on the roster, and if this is indeed the last we'll see of Rousey in the ring, she's going out helping her friend. Fans can expect Rousey vs. Baszler to play out at SummerSlam, and the card for this year's biggest party of the summer is slowly coming together. While many matches have been rumored, none have been announced as of this time, and there won't be enough spots for everyone who wants to appear. As we reported yesterday, matches planned for the show include Roman Reigns vs. Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes vs. Brock Lesnar, Asuka vs. Charlotte Flair vs. Bianca Belair, and Trish Stratus vs. Becky Lynch. In The Observer, it is reported that Gunther vs. Drew McIntyre will also be at SummerSlam, but several stars haven't had matches booked yet. World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, US Champion Austin Theory, Tag Team Champions Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and Edge all aren't booked yet, and there is a lot of competition among talent to get on the card. As the second biggest WWE event of the year, appearing at SummerSlam will be a huge deal for the roster. And what matches do you hope to see at the biggest party of the summer? And we're ending with Grayson Waller, who was on this week's Smackdown in a match with Edge in a huge moment for the young Australian superstar. This match came 1 week after his work with John Cena in London, and fans should start getting used to Waller sharing the ring with high-profile names. Fightful Select reports that Waller's hard work has not gone unnoticed backstage in WWE, and even before his match with Edge, people in the company were very high on his work. In an update, WRKD Wrestling revealed that many in WWE's creative team feel that Waller has all the tools, both as a wrestler in the ring and as a superstar on the mic. Some even feel that with the right booking and if he remains relatively injury-free, Waller could be a future main eventer for years to come, joining the list of future main event stars that includes Gunther and Solo Sikoa. Waller suffered an injury during his final NXT match, and WWE's insistence of him being on TV while injured is a sign that the company wants him to be a big presence on programming, and expect much more for Grayson Waller in the weeks, months, and years to come.